All men should watch this video. Top 10 female weaknesses every man must know. Stoicism, modern stoic. A man who knows himself attracts what he deserves. Let's talk about something most men don't discuss. You've been told to be the provider, protector, the man with a plan. While that's important, what truly keeps her interested isn't just strength or charm. It's something deeper, something subtle that even she may not realize. Women are emotionally complex, and there are hidden triggers, weaknesses that most men miss. When you don't recognize them, you chase when you should be still, talk when you should listen, give when you should pull back. She pulls away, not because you're not enough, but because you've given too much of the wrong thing. The key is to stop reacting and start observing. Stop trying to prove yourself and start being the man you are. When you do, you stop chasing and become the one she can't ignore. In this video, we'll break down 10 overlooked emotional triggers in a woman's mind. These aren't just tricks, they're deep patterns that, when understood, let you lead with quiet power. No more guessing or negotiating. If you've ever wondered why you're doing everything right, but still get ignored, or why some men barely try and still make a lasting impact, this is your wake-up call. Let's get into it. Number 1. The one emotion she tries to hide but can't around you. There's one emotion she tries desperately to hide but can't when she's around you. She might laugh it off, brush it under the rug, or even act unaffected. But deep down, there's a feeling that she can't mask. It's uncertain. Not confusion or chaos, but a subtle shift within her. When you enter the room, speak with purpose, and don't feel the need to prove anything about yourself. She'll look at you and realize she can't read you, and that uncertainty about where she stands is exactly what creates the emotional charge she can't escape. See, most men are too predictable. They wear their intentions on their sleeves, compliment too early, text too eagerly, and crave validation before respect. Because of that, women see them coming from a mile away. No tension, no mystery, no real spark. But when a man is calm, composed, and unhurried, when he doesn't chase or over-explain, he creates a sense of intrigue that she can't quite place. It's not fear or insecurity, but a burning curiosity. Why do I want to know what he's thinking? That right there is where emotional tension begins. And here's the reality. She'll try to hide it. She'll distract herself with scrolling, talking faster, or changing the subject. But her body can't lie. She leans in more than usual, watches your reactions closely, and, unknowingly, slows down. You've disrupted her emotional autopilot. You've stirred something in her that she wasn't prepared for, and that's why she hides it. It's not manipulation. It's because, for once, she's not the one driving the experience. For women used to being in control, that shift is unsettling. But understand this. It doesn't come from playing games, being mean, or withholding affection. It comes from knowing that connection doesn't require impressing or chasing. It only requires being rooted, grounded in who you are. When a man is centered, not fluctuating based on praise or rejection, a woman can't help but feel her own sense of disorientation in his presence. This is the shift, the one emotion she can't hide. Because here's the truth. Women don't fall for what they see in a man. They fall for how they feel about themselves when they're with him. And when your energy is steady, calm, and unwavering, she feels a sense of unease in the best possible way. She starts to wonder, why do I want more of him, even though he hasn't done anything loud, even though he hasn't revealed anything or said much at all? Because true power doesn't have to shout. It simply is. And when it's authentic, she can't help but feel it. So don't chase, don't seek validation, just be. Let her feel that quiet power you hold. Share your thoughts below. How has your presence shifted the energy in a room before? Comment to remember. I am a man of quiet power. Number 2. The masculine calm that makes her collapse emotionally. Every man must understand the profound impact of maintaining masculine calm amidst emotional turbulence. When faced with a woman who raises her voice, rolls her eyes, hurls biting words, or retreats into silence, daring you to chase her, your response can make all the difference. The moment you meet all of this with one thing, unshakable masculine calm, something inside her begins to collapse, not in defeat, not in weakness, but in surrender. This is a truth she won't always say out loud, but it is undeniable. Most women are accustomed to leading emotional tension, to controlling the rhythm of every interaction. They are the ones who escalate the intensity, withdraw when they want to manipulate the situation, or make demands without even saying them. They've learned how to be the emotional thermostat, setting the temperature and determining whether things heat up or cool down. Most men, unfortunately, fall into this trap. They react, they defend, they explain, and they try to win her back, scrambling to calm the storm or find the words to soften the tension. They mirror her energy, feeling that they must meet her emotional intensity with their own in an attempt to bring things back into balance. But the man who doesn't rise to that chaos, who doesn't need to prove his worth in the heat of emotion, is the man who commands attention. He remains grounded, unwavering, centered, and emotionally unmoved, no matter the turmoil surrounding him. This is a rare power. When you stand firm in your calmness, when you don't let her emotional swings dictate your behavior, you completely shatter her emotional control. She doesn't know how to rattle you. She doesn't know how to manipulate the flow of conversation in her favor. In that confusion, in that moment of uncertainty, she softens. Not out of weakness, but because she realizes that this man is different. She can no longer manipulate the situation to keep control, and in the absence of her usual power plays, she is forced to confront something rare, her own vulnerability. What you are offering is not simply emotional detachment. You are showing her that your frame is unshaken, that your sense of self is not dependent on her approval or mood. You do not need her to validate your worth. You do not crumble in the face of her emotions. The quiet strength you display is what makes her feel something deeper than mere attraction. It makes her feel safe. Not in a shallow, superficial way, but in the most profound sense of security. She can lower her guard, she can relax, knowing that she no longer has to fight to maintain control. And this, my friend, is where real power lies. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The key to true strength, true masculine power, lies not in the frantic pursuit of external validation, but in the mastery of oneself, in the unwavering ability to stand firm, regardless of external circumstances. This is the core of what you are showing her. When you stand resolute, when you remain undisturbed by emotional chaos, you are displaying something far more valuable than simply winning an argument or regaining her affection. You are showing that you are the rock in the storm, that you are not swayed by the ebb and flow of emotional tides. Your stillness in the midst of chaos is not a sign of indifference. It is a mark of deep strength. This is a lesson that many men fail to learn, and it is one that women desperately crave in their partners. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you do not give in to the emotional chaos, when you do not mirror her frustrations or anxieties, you actually create the space for the relationship to thrive. You make her feel secure, respected, and ultimately deeply attracted to the emotional stability you offer. She may never admit it, but your calm is the bedrock upon which a real connection can be built. This is why staying centered in the face of her emotional storms is not just a strategy, it is an essential aspect of modern masculinity. You are not reacting, you are not bending, you are not scrambling to fix the chaos. Instead, you are providing something deeper, something she doesn't even realize she's yearning for. You are showing her that you are a man who can withstand the fire without losing your center. And this is the power that makes her surrender, soften, and trust you in ways that few men can ever achieve. Don't just aim to be a man who listens. Aim to be the man who can remain steadfast, unshaken, and deeply grounded. This, in the end, is the key to unlocking real power, both in your life and in your relationships. Number 3. How your absence triggers her need for validation. Let me ask you this. Have you ever pulled away? Not out of malice, not as a game, but simply to protect your own peace of mind? And the moment you go silent, she starts reaching out again. This isn't some random coincidence. It's the raw power of absence at work. You see, when you're always present, always explaining, always checking in, you become predictable. And predictability, that's a silent killer of curiosity. It dulls attraction. It kills mystery. But when you genuinely step back, when you let silence fill the space, that's when the magic happens. She starts to wonder, to question. What's he thinking? Where is he emotionally? Does he still care? In that uncertainty, in that void of answers, her brain kicks into overdrive. She needs validation, and your absence suddenly becomes louder than any message could ever be. You must understand this. Your silence isn't a game. It's a powerful statement. But here's where most men fail. They pull away as a tactic, hoping to provoke a chase, acting cold to get attention. That's not what we're talking about. Real absence comes from a place of strength. It's the absence of neediness, the absence of over-explaining, the absence of emotional pursuit. It's the absence of a man who is centered, who has no need to chase, because he knows his worth and his peace is paramount. The absence we're discussing here is a break from need, not a performance. When a man pulls away in this way, not to make her chase, but to reclaim himself, that's when things shift. She is now the one who wonders, does he still care? Does he still value me? And it's that very uncertainty, that question of her importance to you, that creates the shift in her mind. This is the moment when she begins to see your true worth, when she begins to value you in ways your constant presence never could. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the more we value things outside our control, the less we value ourselves. When you learn to value your own peace, your own presence, you stop needing her validation. And when you stop needing validation, that's when she begins to crave your presence more than ever. This isn't manipulation, this is mastery of self. You have to understand that absence is not just the absence of presence, it's the presence of your power, your self-sufficiency. The next time you go silent, don't question it. Understand it's your power, not your absence, that speaks louder than words. She won't just see it, she'll feel it. Now, go ahead, hit that like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe if you understand the power of absence in shaping the dynamics of attraction. Let this knowledge echo in your life, because true mastery starts with the self. Comment the statement, I am centered and secure in my worth, to affirm your strength and power. Let's hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Number 4. The one thing she never admits makes her submit. She'll say she values communication, vulnerability, emotional connection, and openness. And she means it partly, but there's one thing she'll never admit. She submits instinctively when she feels your unwavering certainty. Not control or dominance, but the deep, calm clarity in who you are. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need approval. Most men don't realize women live in constant emotional flux, and when a man is just as reactive, she can't trust him to lead. But when you're grounded and clear, everything shifts. The tension dissolves because you've created safety for her to let go of control. This is the essence of true polarity, masculine certainty creating space for feminine surrender, not through force, but through energy. She can stop trying to steer the ship when she feels your calm, immovable presence. If you're unsure of yourself, constantly shifting with her mood, she won't trust you. But when you stand tall, hold steady eye contact and say no with kindness and conviction, she feels your certainty. That's what makes her submit. At first, she might test you, but your calm certainty will wear down her resistance because she'll realize there's nothing to fight. As Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's masculine certainty. It's about being true to yourself, not impressing her. When you do, she feels safe to trust you. So if you've stopped seeking approval and chosen to stand firm, type this in the comments. I hold my frame because the man who leads with calm conviction never has to ask for submission. It happens naturally when he gives her something stronger than words to trust. What does masculine certainty mean to you? Number 5. Why emotional presence is her silent obsession. Forget the illusion that it's your physical appearance, your job title, or your charm that wins her over. It's not about the flashy car you drive or the number of books you've read to impress her. What truly gets under her skin, what she can't stop noticing even when she tries to ignore it, is your emotional presence. This is the silent obsession that women have. It's not the superficial traits most men focus on. Most men mistakenly believe attraction is built on talking, on action, on displaying effort and showing off. But the reality is, a woman feels your presence long before she ever hears your voice. The moment you enter a room, she notices your energy. She feels it. When your energy communicates that you are here, you are grounded, and you're not trying to prove anything, this speaks far louder than any words ever could. In a world full of distractions and constant noise, your emotional presence becomes an anchor for her, something she craves without fully understanding why. Women are deeply connected to the emotional realm. They are constantly scanning for signals, whether they realize it or not. It's in your posture, your tone, your reactions, even your moments of stillness. They are tuned into the subtle, picking up on what isn't said, feeling what isn't outwardly expressed. A man who is fully present, undistracted, unfazed by external forces, and aware of his surroundings becomes a magnet for her attention without having to utter a single word. Emotional presence isn't about intensity. It's not about locking eyes with her and trying to look deep into her soul. It's not about proving your worth with some grand gesture or endless philosophical conversation. It's about being fully here, in the moment, not lost in your own head or consumed with performance. It's about offering your attention in its purest form, giving her a safe space where she can exist without any distractions. You'd be surprised by how rare this quality is. Most men aren't really present. They're caught up in their own thoughts, always anticipating the next move, reacting to her every action, and planning what to say next. Many are unknowingly seeking her approval, chasing her validation, and projecting insecurity, even if they believe they're hiding it well. Women, however, can feel this. They sense the uncertainty, the lack of true presence, even if it's masked by confident words or rehearsed actions. But the man who stands firm in his emotional presence, the one who doesn't flinch when she gets emotional, who doesn't react to her mood swings, and who remains comfortable with silence, is the man who becomes her foundation. When she feels chaos swirling around her, that man is like a rock in the middle of the storm, steady and unwavering. Whether she consciously admits it or not, that rock is exactly what she desires to lean on, what she longs for in a partner. That emotional steadiness becomes a powerful force. It gives her the space to relax, to trust, and to open up. She might not say it outright, but that man who offers nothing more than his solid presence becomes irreplaceable in her life. To be that man takes discipline, staying calm when the world around you is anything but. It takes self-awareness, the ability to listen with your whole being, not just your ears. So, step up. Don't just be present in the moment. Be the moment. Stand as that rock, unshakable, undistracted, emotionally steady, and you'll find that you become magnetic in ways you never imagined. Comment to remember: I am emotionally present. Number 6. The quiet power of being unavailable at the right time. Let's talk about timing. Not the mundane back and forth of when to text or call, but the deeper, more strategic power of being unavailable at the right moment. Most men believe that consistency means always being present, always responding, always showing up, and always saying yes. But consistency without boundaries leads to indifference. When she knows she can always reach you, whenever, wherever, under any condition, you stop being a presence in her life. Instead, you fade into the background. Women crave mystery, not predictability. They want to feel what's rare, what's meaningful, and what's hard to capture. And that's where timing becomes crucial. The power of being unavailable isn't about ignoring her or trying to create tension for attention. It's about recognizing that your value diminishes when your presence is expected and easy to access. You might be the most attractive guy around, but if you're always available, always giving, you lose that spark. But when you master the art of purposeful unavailability, things change. She starts noticing the contrast. She starts paying attention to when you're there and when you're not. And in that contrast, your presence becomes impactful again. Think about it. Let's say she's used to you responding within minutes, but one day you don't. It's not because you're playing games. It's because you're busy, focused, and living your life. And she feels that. She doesn't just feel the silence, she feels the absence of pursuit. She won't get a message saying, "Sorry, just saw this," or a detailed explanation of your day. She just gets space. And in that silence, her curiosity builds. Why hasn't he replied? Is he pulling away? Did I say something wrong? She'll replay the last conversation, check your social media, and question everything. And that's not about manipulation. It's about creating mystery through restraint. Emotional power isn't loud. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't demand. It lets silence speak for itself. The man who understands that, the man who knows when to pull back, not permanently, but just enough, becomes irresistible. You don't need to fight, explain, or justify. Just exit the moment quietly. That absence, that brief moment of stillness, resets everything. It reminds her that you are not at her emotional beck and call. It shows her that your time is yours to control, not an obligation to her. And that's where attraction reignites. You're no longer just a guy who's always around. You're a man whose presence is earned and valued. This echoes the teachings of Stoicism. Seneca famously said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Constant availability leads to diminishing impact. But when you can learn to be selective, to step away intentionally without guilt, you send a clear message. I respect my time more than I fear your reaction. That message lands deeply in her psyche. She won't say it, but she'll notice. She'll respond differently, softer, more attentive, not because you demanded it, but because your intentional absence taught her. If you're ready to stop being the guy who's always one call away, if you're ready to protect your energy, to pause before reacting, to create space with purpose, then embrace this principle. The man who disappears with intention always returns with more value than when he left. Number 7. Why your self-respect is her favourite form of attraction. There's an undeniable force within a man who truly respects himself, and it's magnetic. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic displays. It's not in the words he speaks, but in the boundaries he sets and the things he refuses to tolerate. In a world where men are often taught to be agreeable, always saying the right thing, keeping the peace, never rocking the boat, this kind of self-respect stands out. A woman may like you, but if you don't have a line, a boundary that you uphold with unwavering conviction, that respect fades. Deep down, women aren't drawn to the man who bends at every turn to keep her happy. They're drawn to the one who refuses to betray his core principles for the sake of approval. That's the man who makes her pause and ask, "Who is this guy, and why can't I manipulate him?" A man with true self-respect doesn't chase validation. He doesn't beg for attention or compromise his standards to gain it. He knows his worth, and it's this inner strength, this clarity, that pulls others in. Rare is the man who lives this way. He's magnetic because he doesn't care to conform. He's loyal to himself, no matter the cost. Self-respect isn't about ego. It's not about arrogance. It's about understanding the true value of your time, your peace, your energy. When she senses this, everything shifts. You become the man who isn't afraid to walk away. You're the man who says no with confidence, who refuses to explain himself, because your peace is non-negotiable. That's power. And in that silence, in that certainty, she sees your strength. She starts questioning her own behaviour, not because you've punished her, but because your self-respect shows her that you're not desperate for her approval. You play your own game, a game that's built on integrity and peace. In practical terms, this looks like walking away when she disrespects you. It's about not chasing her energy when it's off, You don't apologize for your boundaries, you state them, clear and firm. When you respect yourself, you don't need to chase validation. You become attractive without even trying. Your actions send a message louder than words ever could. The more you stand firm in your self-respect, the more she'll begin to reflect on her own behavior around you. She'll see the man who refuses to tolerate disrespect. And because that kind of man is unpredictable and unyielding, she can't help but be drawn to him. Take a moment to reflect on the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who famously said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Don't over-explain your worth. Don't defend your boundaries. Simply live them." And here's the truth. When you're willing to lose a relationship rather than lose yourself, she will feel it. Even if she leaves, she'll remember the man who stood his ground, not out of stubbornness, but out of sovereignty. A man who knows who he is and refuses to be anyone else. So if you're ready to stop overextending, to stop bending over backward for approval, and to start living with a sense of undeniable self-worth, drop a comment below. I choose myself. Because the man who respects himself commands respect, no matter what it costs. Number 8. When she sees you can walk away, everything changes. When she sees you can walk away, everything changes. The turning point in any relationship happens not when you say the perfect thing, but when she realizes you could leave, and you actually would. Before that, she may have assumed your loyalty was unconditional, that you'd always stay. Most men hang on too long, staying available, giving her control. But when you prioritize your peace over her attention, she feels it. You stop chasing, explaining, and orbiting around her reactions. Without a word, you reclaim your power, reminding her your life moves forward with or without her. That unsettles her. It's not about teaching her a lesson. It's about choosing self-respect over confusion. This decision flips the dynamic. Now she sees you're not afraid to lose her, and that fear of losing you shifts the balance of power. This is when the power imbalance dissolves, and true polarity is restored. You stop chasing connection and become the standard. The man who doesn't need to close the loop because the door is already closed. It works only when it's authentic, not a tactic, but a state of mind. Walking away isn't about anger, it's about clarity and protecting your worth. That silent departure is what rewires her perception of you. If you're at this point, where your silence is a declaration and your distance is peace, type in the comments, "I walk with strength because the man who can walk away without looking back is the man who never has to chase again." Number 9. When she feels you don't need her, she leans in. When you stop acting like you need her, that's when she'll start leaning in. Here's the truth, brother. Most of us were taught that the more we give, the more she'll stay. We've been sold the idea that by proving our loyalty, showing devotion, and making her the center of our world, she'll see our value. But reality hits hard. The moment she senses that you need her more than she needs you, the dynamic shifts, and not in your favor. Neediness isn't love, it's a trap. It repels her. It adds pressure to her life. It makes her feel like she's carrying your emotional weight. And deep down, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want to be the reason for your peace. She wants to feel attracted to your peace, with or without her. When a woman feels like you're emotionally dependent on her, something inside her shifts. It's not that she's cruel. It's just that the burden of being your emotional anchor isn't romantic. It's draining. She wants to feel wanted, not needed. It's not about being cold or detached, but about standing firm in your own completeness. When she sees you are grounded, whole, and complete, either way, something inside her changes. She starts leaning in, not because you've asked for her to, but because she feels your presence as a gift, not a demand. Your time becomes precious because it's not a guarantee. It's something you choose to give. People chase what they can't have. When you stop signaling that you're emotionally available all the time, when you stop filling silence with reassurance, when you stop needing her reactions to validate your worth, you become a mystery. And women are drawn to mystery. It's not a game you play, it's just that your self-sufficiency, your ability to be content on your own, becomes magnetic. Here's a deeper truth most men miss. Women don't want to be your everything. They want to feel like they've earned a place in your already full life. When you stop making her your emotional project, when you stop seeking her to complete you, when you're simply living your life with or without her, that's when she begins to wonder, why is he okay without me? Why does his distance feel heavier than my presence? That's when she leans in. She responds faster. She pays more attention. She tries harder, but not with words. She does it with energy, softness, initiative, something intangible, but deeply felt. The real key here is authenticity. This doesn't work if you're faking detachment or pretending to be busy. It works when you are genuinely centered in your purpose. You have your own life. You have places to be. You are emotionally whole with or without her. That's what makes your attention powerful, not because you withhold it, but because it's no longer cheap. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. You don't need her to complete you. You're not waiting for her approval to feel worthy. You already know your worth. And that's what makes her want to come back into the space you no longer offer freely. She doesn't lean in because you ignore her. She leans in because you no longer revolve around her. You're the sun. You radiate with or without her, and she feels that shift more deeply than any compliment or text could ever convey. So, if you're done with the constant need to prove your value, if you've chosen peace over validation, if you've chosen your purpose over chasing her, then drop this in the comments. I need nothing. Because the man who is complete without her is the one she fights hardest not to lose. Number 10. Mastering the shift from being chosen to becoming the standard. Many men live their lives trying to be chosen, desperately seeking validation from others, particularly women. You've probably been there, doing everything right, showing up, adjusting yourself, giving more than you receive, hoping that all of your effort will eventually make her notice you. But eventually, you hit the harsh truth. Despite all your attempts, she pulls away, loses interest, or gets bored. It's not because you aren't good enough. It's because you never made the shift from being someone who seeks approval to someone who sets the standard. You were too busy waiting for her to choose you, but you should have been focusing on becoming the man who doesn't need to be chosen. The reality is this: a man who seeks approval constantly reacts to the world around him. He overthinks every text, adjusts his behavior based on her mood, and sacrifices his own boundaries in the hope of gaining her affection. But the man who becomes the standard does not live for approval. He is his own validation. He knows he is enough, not because he's been told, but because he lives his life as if he already is. He's not chasing her attention. He's building his own world, and if she aligns with it, great. If not, that's her loss. The moment you stop seeking validation, you flip the dynamic. She starts questioning if she's enough for you, not because you're playing games, but because you've realized that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's recognition. You no longer perform for those who haven't earned your truth. That is the shift every man must make to become the standard, not just someone waiting to be chosen. It's a powerful, life-changing move. Take it. All right, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for sticking with me through this important conversation. Now, remember, everything we discussed isn't about trying to control anyone, especially women. It's not about becoming emotionally distant or manipulative. It's about reclaiming your own power, the kind that's calm, unshakable, and rooted in solid principles. Stoicism isn't about being detached from your emotions. It's about having control over them. It's not about being cold or heartless. It's about being clear and whole, whether she's there or not. So if this video gave you some clarity and reminded you of who you are, then I'm glad to hear that. Subscribe to the channel, not just for more content, but to stay connected with this mindset, this energy, this brotherhood of men who refuse to settle for less. And if something resonated deeply with you today, don't just sit on it. Type it out. Declare it. Let this be more than just a video. Let it be a reset for you. Thanks again for watching, for choosing to level up today, and for doing the quiet, inner work most people shy away from. I'll see you in the next one. Same energy, same truth. Take care of your peace until then.